It's time to live your stronger life. Hey, I'm Sammy, physio coach and nutritionist, and your hype girl for creating your stronger life. Here, we ditch the quick fixes and build real strength inside and out. So whether you're here to tone up, drop the body fat, build muscle, mental resilience, or ditch the diet culture, or just feel bloody good in your skin, you're in the right place. So let's get into it. All right, ladies, you've been in a deficit for months. You've been eating less. You've been going to the gym. You've been saying no to the things you actually want to eat. And yet you still look exactly the same. Same body, same scale weight, same frustration, standing in front of the mirror on a Monday morning, wondering what on earth is going on. So you decide the answer must be to try harder, to eat less, cut more, push through, and I need to stop you right there because that thinking, that cycle is the reason that so many women spend years and years and years dieting and never actually change their body. So today I am going to break down exactly what's happening when you're stuck, the real reasons that your deficit has stopped working, and what you actually need to do to get things moving again. And I promise you the answer is to not restrict harder. Let's get into it. First things first, you've been eating less and less for months now with nothing to show for it. And I need you to hear something. You actually are probably not in a deficit, and I'm really sorry to say that, and I know that kind of sucks and it's a bit confronting, but I know you feel like you're doing the right thing, and you may be doing the quote-unquote right things, but maybe it's not the right things for your body, for your goals right now. But a calorie deficit, it works 100% of the time. All of the time. Like that is physics. That's just energy in versus energy out. The law of thermodynamics. It just is what it is. But if the scale isn't moving and your body isn't changing, then something in the equation is off. And this is something that I often see with ladies before they come and join with us. So here is a couple of examples of what might be going on. Monday to Thursday, locked in. Low calories, hitting the targets, feeling on top of your game. Then Friday hits. You're exhausted, you're hungry, you've been holding strong all week long, and then the wheels fall off. Saturday and Sunday, whether it's wine, a big dinner out, a few too many snacks, eating on the road, running around after all your kids, or you're just eating more than you realize because you're not tracking over the weekend, you're trying to be a bit more lax, a bit more chill, and those days quietly cancel out the deficit that you've created during the week. And then you get back to Monday and you think, but I've been so good. But your weekly calorie average tells a different story. And that's what happens when your weekday approach is too aggressive and your weekends are like, yeah, let's not worry about it. We can't do that big of a deal. The problem isn't that you're lazy or you're undisciplined. It's the problem is that your deficit you think you're in is not actually the deficit that you're actually in. So before you go any further here, I want you to genuinely ask yourself, do I actually know what I'm eating consistently? Am I tracking, including the weekends? Am I accounting for the cooking oils, the sauces, the drinks, the handful of nuts and the bites and bits of things here and there? Am I weighing the food or am I just eyeballing it? Am I going, I know what a portion looks like because, honey, have you ever weighed like a proper bowl of cereal or have you ever weighed a proper serving of pasta? Like if you're just eyeballing it, you don't know what a real serving is until you do that first. And those things add up fast. So if the honest answer is no to any of those things, that is your first starting point. Get consistent with tracking across the whole entire week, not just the days that feel good. And yes, that can be really bloody annoying. It's tedious, but do you know what's more annoying? Staying stuck for months and months and months on end. Why don't you just lock in for a couple of weeks and actually see some real results because you're consistently doing the stuff accurately, then just keep fluffing about for another couple of months because it's too much effort to track accurately. Like the math doesn't math. It's just going to be quicker to do it. You know that example of like, you know, when your kids don't want to go to bed and so they just keep arguing about not going to bed because they want to stay up, but they're just wasting time that they could have just gone to bed or they could have just done something else, but instead they just argue about not going to bed and that's just wasting everyone's time. That's literally what you're doing. It's like just go to bed or go do something else that you actually want to do instead of arguing about doing the thing. It's the same as you saying that you don't want to track your calories because it takes up too much time, but you're happy to just fluff about for months and months and months on end. But the converse to that is I actually teach my ladies not to just track throughout the day because that is a pain in the ass. I don't even do that. I use my tracking as a pre-planning tool. I know exactly what I'm going to eat. I do it on rotation. I know meals that I can just chuck together that will fit my calories, and I know the amounts that I still weigh accurately. I track things accurately, but I use a lot of pre-planning. I plan things out in advance. I do it the day before or a couple of days before. I have meals that I know I can slot in that are going to fit my calories really beautifully, so I'm not tracking throughout the day, wasting my time. I literally takes me 2 minutes to chuck in everything that I'm going to have for the day, and then I'm done, and I just look at it as a menu and I know what to weigh out on my plate. That is how you make tracking not so painful, but you do need to still weigh it, because eyeballing it, I guarantee you, you're not eyeballing things correctly. Okay, so that is one thing. But let's say you have been genuinely in a deficit. You are tracking accurately, you're consistent, and things have just stopped. And this is a different problem, and it's another one that you need to understand. A calorie deficit is a short-term tool. It has a start date, a target, and an end point, and it is not meant to be a permanent state of being. And here's what happens when you treat it like one. Your body is incredibly smart. It has survived for thousands of years by adapting to whatever conditions it's put under. So when you consistently eat less and less and less, your body does not just sit there and keep burning fat at the same rate. It adapts because it's clever. You're cold, you shiver. You're hot, you sweat. You starve it, it's going to adapt. It starts reducing your total daily energy expenditure. You burn less through the daily movement, you fidget less, you're less active without realizing it. Your metabolism essentially starts running on low power mode, battery saver mode, and it gets worse. Once your body has adapted to this lower intake, it stops prioritizing fat as its main fuel source, and it starts breaking down muscle instead. Muscle is expensive tissue. It costs a lot of calories to maintain. So when your body's getting into that, low power mode, muscle becomes a target. And less muscle means, a slower metabolism. It means that you need even fewer calories just to maintain. It means your shape and your definition and your actual training starts to disappear, even while you're still going to the gym for 4 times a week. That's how you end up looking soft, undefined, and you don't feel good in your skin either. You're training, you're eating less, and yet you're looking worse and worse and worse. And this is metabolic adaptations. It's not some myth. It's not happening to you because you're doing something wrong. It's your body doing exactly what it's designed to do. But your mistake is that you're staying in this deficit long past the point where it was actually working for you. And then also when you are doing dieting for a really long period of time, go back to part 1 where I mentioned about, are you actually tracking things accurately, eating everything that you're saying? Because more often than not, your body's going to start trying to make you eat a little bit more, because it's like, dude, we're not coping. We need more food. We need more energy. So you might start to have a bit of diet fatigue and start going a bit lax here and there. Like, you think that you're losing discipline, but actually you just need to eat some carbohydrates because your body's just gone, sis, we need food. And so your discipline's like, nah, see ya. I'm going to make sure you eat a bit more food and be a bit cheeky about it. So you get the diet fatigue as well. Why chronic restriction also makes everything harder. This is another layer that just doesn't get talked about enough. Chronic dieting is a physiological stressor to the body. It's like, you're driving a car and your foot is on the accelerator and you just keep the foot on the accelerator and your car's not going to cope. It's going to burn itself out, right? And maybe you put the foot on the accelerator and then you pull the handbrake on. That's even more danger. That's what chronic dieting is to your body. When your body is under sustained caloric restriction, cortisol, your primary stress hormone, goes up. Now, it is good to have cortisol go up. I've mentioned this in a few other podcasts. It is good to go up. It needs to be up in the morning. That is a good thing. And it does come up when you exercise. And stress is a good thing on the body. The only way we adapt and improve and get stronger and grow is through stress and then recovery, stress and recovery. So it is a good thing. But consistently elevated stress hormones create a cascade of effects that make fat loss genuinely harder. Water retention goes up. You feel puffy and heavier even though you're eating less. The scale isn't moving, or it's even going up and you can't understand why. You have cravings for high calorie, high sugar foods more and more and more. This is your body's stress response trying to get you to eat more energy. Your hunger hormones, ghrelin in particular, increase. You feel hungrier than normal and you constantly feel hungry. And your body essentially stays in this like low grade fight or flight mode, which is not a state that supports body composition changes, and rest and recovery is what it needs. Does it stop fat loss completely? Absolutely not. If you're in a calorie deficit, you're in a calorie deficit. You're going to lose body fat. But it sure makes it a hell of a lot harder than it needs to be. You're going to feel hungry all the time. You feel puffy despite eating less. You're going to feel like your body's working against you, because it is. You've been in a diet deficit for way too long without giving it a break. And eventually this is the part that keeps so many ladies stuck. The restriction becomes undoable. Nobody can sustain a deficit forever. Nobody should. You cannot build muscle effectively in a deficit. You cannot brain function effectively in a deficit consistently. So eventually you're going to break. You overeat, then you feel guilty, you restrict harder to compensate, and then you break the cycle again. And you go through this cycle, restrict, blow out, restrict harder, blow out again. It is the number one reason why ladies never make long-term results and they don't maintain them. It's not that you're not trying hard enough. It's just that your approach itself is unsustainable right now. But here is the solution. And I promise you it's not harder dieting. So here's the part I want you to land on today. The solution is not to push harder. For most ladies, the solution here is a maintenance phase. And I know what you're thinking. But Sammy, if I stop the deficit, I'm going to gain everything back. You're not. A maintenance phase means eating at your maintenance calories. The amount of food your body actually needs to maintain its current weight. It's not a surplus. You're not eating everything in sight. It is maintenance, which means your body will maintain where it is. But here's what does happen to your body. Cortisol will settle down. Hunger hormones settle down. Your body starts to recover because you've removed the stress of sustained restriction. Your training starts to actually improve and you're going to see visible results again. You're going to be getting stronger. You're going to see muscles popping because your body has the fuel it needs to recover properly, build muscle, and function at its best. And psychologically, you get a break. You stop feeling deprived, you stop being in a constant mental battle with food, and you just get to eat like a normal human being for a period of time. A maintenance phase is not a step backwards. It is a necessary pit stop for your car to get a little service before it can keep going. It is a necessary side step that sets you up to keep going forward. And that is how fat loss is actually supposed to work. So this is the framework. And I don't want this to be too vague. It's just real simple. Cut, maintain, just like that. It's literally like that. Getting lean is not one straight line. It never has been. It shouldn't be. The ladies who want to try and make it a straight line, the non-stop restriction until they reach their goals, are the ones who end up burning out at the end, regaining everything and starting the whole cycle over and over again. A real sustainable fat loss phase looks like this. A structured cut, a moderate calorie deficit, high protein, strength training, high fiber. Anywhere from 8 to 16 weeks, depending on how much you're trying to lose and how you're responding. Some people can get away with longer ones and some people need shorter ones. It really depends on the individual circumstances. Scale moving, body changing, so the deficit's working. Then we have a maintenance phase. Bring calories back up to maintenance, keep training, keep the protein high, lock in on the progress that you've made, let the body adapt to its new weight. Typically, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, sometimes longer if you've been in a deficit for a while or if your body is showing signs of adaptations like your hunger is still high, your energy's low, the scale's been stuck for quite a while. Sometimes you might just want to stay in your maintenance phase for a little bit longer, build some muscle. You're going to look better at the end anyways. The more muscle you have, the better you're going to look. And then you go into another cut, back into the deficit, you're going in recovered, it's refreshed, it's like all new again. The metabolism's working properly, hunger's manageable, cortisol's normalized, and fat loss just starts moving again. Cut, maintain, cut. And that's how you're going to lose the weight effectively without losing your muscle, your sanity, or your results 3 months later. And honestly, that is how I do my own fat loss phases when I've prepped for comps. Even through deep cuts, we've had little mini maintenance phases and diet breaks in the big old 24 plus week comp preps. I've had diet breaks in the middle of that as well. Not because it's a comfortable option, but because you need it. Your body needs it and you feel better for doing it. So how do you know when you need a maintenance phase? So let me give you some signs to look out for. You've been in a deficit for more than 12 weeks and the progress has stalled for a good couple of weeks or more. Not just one slow week, but an actual plateau for a good number of weeks. Your hunger feels out of control, like genuinely hard to manage. Not just like, I'd love a little bicky with my tea, but like real persistent hunger that is affecting your daily life. Your energy and training has dropped significantly. You're not getting as stronger. You're just going through the motions. Your mood is consistently low or irritable. You're thinking about food constantly. You're feeling puffy and heavy despite eating less. Any combination of all of that, your body is telling you something, and that something is I need a break. A maintenance phase of 2 to 6 weeks is usually enough to refresh things. Some ladies need more, and that's okay. This isn't a sprint. This is life. The goal is to build a body you can maintain, not to see how long you can suffer through restriction. So what does maintenance actually look like? Let me be practical about this one because I know eating at maintenance can feel very vague. And for a lot of ladies, I will give them maintenance calorie ranges. But it could be anywhere from 1,900 calories, 2,400 calories, up to 2,700 calories if you're a really lucky bugger and your maintenance is that high. It really depends on your size, your activity levels, and how long you've been dieting for. You might need to work yours out, which means eating what you think is maintenance and watching what happens to your weight over 2 to 3 weeks. If it's stable, you've found out. Maybe you can even increase it a little bit more. What you're not doing during a maintenance phase, though, is you're not going into a surplus. You're not eating in a reverse in a way that drives weight gain week after week. You're not using it as an excuse to ditch your training or drop your protein. You're keeping the structure. You're still lifting, you're still hitting your protein, and then you're still moving your body daily. You're still eating your healthy whole foods. You're just eating more of it. It's not an excuse to go and eat whatever the hell you want in whatever amounts that you want. You still want to keep your baseline healthy habits there. The only thing that changes is that you're no longer in a deficit. You're eating enough to support your training and your life without the added stress of restriction. And after a few weeks of that, I guarantee you're going to feel different. Training feels better, sleep improves, mood lifts, and when you go back into that cut, it works again. And that is the whole point. So if you've been dieting for months and months and months and the scale just won't budge and you still don't look like you train, you don't need another deficit. You need a phased plan. You need to stop thinking of fat loss as something you must endure until you get to the end and start thinking about it as something you structure intelligently with phases, with recovery built in, with a long-term view. Your body ain't broken. It's not betraying you. It's doing exactly what it's designed to do when it's been under stress for too long. So the answer is not to fight harder, but the answer is to work with it. Cut with intention, maintain with a strategy, and then you can go back into a cut again later. And that is real progress, and that is how it works. Thanks so much for listening. If you found this episode valuable, please rate, review, and subscribe. And I'd love if you shared this on your Instagram and tag me, Sammy_livestrong. And if you'd like to learn more about my coaching and join the Project Livestrong family, please message me, Livestrong, on Instagram, and I'll see how I can help. I'll see you next time.